In an age of rapid change and incredible challenges, Stoicism offers us not just to survive, but to thrive in any circumstances. Today, we will plunge into the wisdom of ancient philosophy to unearth the treasures of gratitude and appreciation of the moment. Let's dive into the world of the Stoics, where the past and the future dance in the arms of the present, and gratitude becomes the key to inner peace. Are you ready to embark on a journey through time and philosophical depths? Then welcome to our video, where we explore how Stoicism turns obstacles into opportunities, and every moment becomes a precious stone in the necklace of our lives. Accepting what is beyond our control. Life is unpredictable, and we often encounter events that lie beyond our influence. It can be the weather, world events, other people's decisions, or even our past. Stoicism teaches us to accept these unforeseen circumstances without unnecessary emotional reactions. Instead of wasting energy worrying about what we can't change, Stoicism suggests focusing on what we can control, our reactions and attitudes to what is happening. Stoics teach us to free ourselves from stress, which brings anxiety about things that lie beyond our influence. Instead of fighting the inevitable, Stoicism encourages us to develop inner resilience and wisdom to accept what is happening and find solutions to what depends on us. This practice allows you to maintain emotional balance in all circumstances, which contributes to a more conscious and balanced lifestyle. For the Stoics, accepting what is beyond our control is based on their basic idea of distinguishing between things that depend on us, our opinions, actions, internal states, and things that do not depend on us, external circumstances, actions of other people, natural phenomena. This principle is expressed in the well-known Stoic formula. It is not the one who causes pain that is the enemy, but the one who causes pain and irritation is the enemy. A real example of this concept can be seen in traffic situations. Drivers on the road may encounter unpredictable events, such as traffic jams, accidents, or bad weather conditions. An acceptance-oriented Stoic tends to focus on what he can control: his behavior on the road, his reaction to stressful situations, and his ability to adapt to change. A Stoic driver facing difficult road conditions may decide to stay calm, avoid unnecessary stress, and use this time for something useful, such as listening to an audiobook or thinking about plans. In this case, accepting what is beyond his control, traffic jams, and other road problems, allows him to maintain his emotional stability and accept the situation without excessive negative reaction. The difference between a reaction and an event. The difference between a reaction and an event in the context of Stoicism plays a key role in understanding how we perceive and react to events in our lives. For the Stoics, events by themselves cannot cause suffering or joy. It depends on our reaction to them. Stoic philosophy argues that events beyond our control, for example, job loss, adverse circumstances, criticism from others, do not determine our well-being. What matters is how we interpret these events and how we react to them. The Stoics teach that we have control over our inner world, over how we perceive and respond to events around us. The event itself is meaningless, and our inner world gives it meaning. Our thoughts, emotions, and reactions. Consider an example. Two people lose their jobs. One may perceive this as a disaster, a drop in self-esteem, and a loss of stability. Another person may decide to take it as a challenge, an opportunity for new beginnings and professional growth. The event itself, the dismissal, does not change, but the reactions of both people will be very different. The difference between a reaction and an event in the Stoic sense reminds us that we have freedom of choice in how we relate to the world around us. This allows us to maintain internal stability and emotional balance in various life situations. An important part of the Stoic concept of the difference between an event and a reaction is the idea that we are not obliged to maintain an emotional connection with the outside world in the way that it may seem at first glance. Stoics encourage us to see the impact of our own beliefs and perceptions on our emotions. In this context, Stoicism supports the idea of changing our internal dialogue and assessment of events. For example, if we claim that losing a job is a failure, injustice, or collapse, our emotions will be appropriately negative. However, if we change our internal dialogue and consider dismissal as a temporary test, as an opportunity for personal and professional growth, our emotional reactions may also change. Stoicism teaches us to use logic and reason in our reactions to events. This does not mean denying emotions, but it encourages us to approach them intelligently and consciously. We can build more constructive reactions based on our values and principles, rather than on momentary emotional outbursts, which contributes to a more stable and balanced inner state. Thus, Stoicism suggests that we not only be passive observers of life, but active participants in shaping our inner world and, ultimately, our happiness. The past and the future are in our thoughts. In Stoic philosophy, turning to the past and the future in our thoughts aims to teach us to live in the present moment, free from unnecessary worries and stress associated with looking back or anticipating the future. The past and the future, according to the Stoics, are beyond our control. We cannot change the events that happened in the past and predict all future circumstances. However, we can control our reactions and attitudes towards the past and the future. When we focus too much on the past, Stoicism suggests not staying in the role of victims, but rather learning from past events. This allows you to use past experiences for personal growth and development, rather than staying in a circle of painful memories. Regarding the future, the Stoics teach us to remain aware of the present moment. This does not mean a complete abandonment of planning, but warns us against worrying unnecessarily about the uncertainty of the future. Instead of sinking into worries and fears, Stoicism encourages us to focus on what we can do now to create a more favorable future. The past and the future in our thoughts, according to Stoicism, should not take over our current moment. By letting go of unnecessary worries about what happened and what might happen, we can enjoy a more fulfilling and conscious life in the present. In Stoic philosophy, the concept of dealing with the past and the future in our thoughts is connected with the basic idea of the epoch, the acceptance that we cannot control external events, but we can control our reactions and attitudes to these events. The attitude to the past in Stoicism includes the understanding that past events cannot be changed. Stoics argue that dwelling on past regret and guilt only hinders our present and future. Instead, we should strive to use past experiences as a lesson that helps us grow and develop. Instead of endlessly repeating mistakes, Stoicism calls for analyzing past events, learning lessons, and accepting them as part of our personal development. The attitude towards the future, within the framework of Stoicism, suggests a balance between planning and accepting uncertainty. Stoics urge us to plan wisely, but not get carried away worrying about what might happen. This frees you from unnecessary stress and allows you to enjoy the present moment more fully. Stoics believe that focusing on the current moment with a balanced view of the future contributes to a more balanced and happy life. As a result, Stoicism calls for mindfulness in dealing with the past and the future, allowing us to create more harmonious and intense moments in our lives. Using obstacles as opportunities. Stoics claim that obstacles provide us with an opportunity to test our strength, endurance, and wisdom. Instead of viewing difficulties as reasons for despair or sacrifice, the Stoic approach involves considering them as challenges that can make us stronger. An example of this approach is a career loser who, instead of despairing after losing his job, decides to use this moment as an incentive for self-improvement. Perhaps he is starting to learn new skills, refocusing on a new field, or even decides to start his own business. Thus, the obstacle of losing a job turns into an opportunity for personal and professional growth. The Stoic principle of using obstacles as opportunities also emphasizes the importance of changing one's attitude towards difficulties. Instead of reacting to them with despair, the Stoics propose to consider them as part of the natural course of life and perceive them with philosophical wisdom. This approach promotes a more flexible and sustainable way of thinking, which can ultimately lead to more effective coping with difficulties and achieving personal goals. The idea of using obstacles as opportunities in Stoic philosophy can also be viewed through the prism of understanding that difficulties often become the mechanism that shapes our characters and abilities. In the context of personal growth and development, Stoics emphasize that it is through overcoming difficulties that we unlock our potential and gain valuable experience. Such situations require us to adapt, be creative, and persevere, which, in turn, contributes to our personal growth. Obstacles also provide an opportunity to practice Stoic principles, such as accepting that we cannot always control external circumstances. Responding to difficulties and obstacles becomes a test of our resilience, our ability to maintain inner stability and calmness. Using obstacles as opportunities also involves redefining values and priorities. Perhaps what initially seems negative becomes the factor that leads to a revision of life goals and the search for new, more valuable directions. An interesting aspect of this concept is the idea that even in the most difficult situations we can find something useful and valuable. Instead of seeing obstacles as obstacles in the way, Stoics call for seeing them as opportunities for growth, self-improvement, and development. Gratitude and appreciation of the moment. Evaluating the moment in a Stoic context is related to the understanding that the present moment is the only moment that we have under control. The past and the future are not influenced by us to the same extent as the current moment. Stoics encourage us to actively participate in the present, fully immersing ourselves in current activities and appreciating every minute. Gratitude, in the Stoic sense, means recognizing the goodness around us, even in the most mundane things. It implies a conscious perception of well-being, opportunities, and simple joys that we often take for granted. Gratitude in Stoicism helps to shift the focus from what is missing or may cause anxiety to the things that we have and that bring us joy. When we combine appreciation of the moment with gratitude, we begin to see beauty in every moment, even in difficult situations. For example, rain can be seen as an obstacle, but thanks to the Stoic view, we can see it as a blessing for nature and an opportunity for growth. This approach to life helps to create a more conscious, rich, and prosperous experience. The practice of gratitude and appreciation of the moment in Stoic philosophy contributes to the formation of a positive attitude towards life and strengthening inner peace, even in conditions of uncertainty and change. The Stoics call for an assessment of the present moment as the only reality we have. They warn against delving too deeply into the past or worrying too much about the future. Evaluating the moment implies full immersion in current activities, focusing on the present and the ability to appreciate every moment of life. It also includes accepting the current circumstances, whatever they may be, with philosophical wisdom and inner peace. Striving for gratitude and appreciation of the moment helps Stoics maintain emotional stability, overcome difficulties, and find harmony in all circumstances. These practices also contribute to creating a more conscious and intense life experience, allowing a person to see beauty and value in every moment, despite external variability. Stoics understand gratitude as a conscious recognition and value of what we have, despite all the difficulties and challenges. They urge us to pay attention to simple joys and benefits in everyday life, such as health, the opportunity to study, the love of loved ones, access to resources, and other positive aspects. Gratitude in Stoicism is not related to external circumstances, but rather to our inner attitude towards what we have.